inflation, costs kept rising. Obviously, eventually we had COVID, which increased the prices on the disposables.
Yes.
So we decided about 20 years ago, we started our own brand called Mark3.
Welcome to the Dental Office Managers Community Podcast, where we talk about the issues that matter most and help us to become better leaders in our dental practice. Let's dive right in. Hey guys, it's Kyle. Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Office Managers Community Podcast. I am so happy to have you here with me today. And I'm even happier because we have an amazing guest with us today. Meet Bryan. Bryan, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for letting us join your community. We're very excited to get started.
Okay, Bryan, so you have such an amazing story, and I would love for our audience here, the dental office managers in our group, to hear that story. Could you please share it with us?
Sure. And thank you for saying that. So, our parent company, Cargus International, was started by my parents back in 1978. Hence the name, their names were Carol and Gus, hence the name Cargus
Okay.
International. And we started in export. So it was a small little business. They started out of their house. My mom still took care of us, did all the cleaning, cooking, but on the side, she ran this dental supply business where we would ship product, and we helped start the first dental supply mail order house in Holland, one of the first ones there. And we would ship the product overseas. We would actually pack up the car, the Ford Explorer, drive to JFK Airport, drop off the packages, and
Wow.
then ship them. Yeah, and we ended up getting customers. We got very good at export. We ended up getting customers in Italy, England, and we even had a customer all the way in Australia.
Wow.
And that's the way we ran the business. We didn't have any inventory. We just bought and sold. But even from the beginning, it was all about saving dental distributors, dentists money, even overseas, right? Because the product was less expensive here than it was there. It was harder for them to get there. This is before 3M, Dentsply, and Kerr had representation over, so they in Europe. So they needed somebody to export the products there. So we did that up until about 1994 when I came into the business out of college. My sister came a year after that, and my brother a few years later. So it's really stayed in the family, and that's the way it is all the way till today. But when I came in, I saw an opportunity to, then the industry changed a little bit. The manufacturers didn't need us as much because they had representation overseas and they set up distribution there. And we saw an opportunity to we saw how expensive the supplies were getting here in the US. The manufacturers kept increasing the prices every year, regardless if the
Mm.
dentist income was rising to that level or not. So we started bringing some name brand product from overseas, bringing it back into the United States. That was an opportunity that I recognized when I came in. And we were able to contact all the distributors here and really sold to most of the distributors here in the United States, including all the big ones. And that we ran probably for about 5 to 10 years. Then we saw another opportunity in the market where, again, inflation, costs kept rising. Obviously, eventually we had COVID, which increased the prices on the disposables.
Yes.
So we decided about 20 years ago, we started our own brand called Mark3. And that's really been our focus over the last 20 years. And the whole idea behind the brand is to bring dentist products. We sell through distributors to dentists, but to bring dentist products that are just as good as 3M, Dentsply, Kerr, GC, Vivadent, these top of the line brands, where someone you can easily switch to one of our products. For example, like Luxatemp from DMG, we have a crown and bridge. You're saving $100 a box. It's not
Wow.
10 or 20% that you're saving. Oh, I could save a few bucks. It's very, very significant savings. But the
Right.
most important thing is that the quality stays the same for the dentist to take care of their patients. So we've had more products rated by CR reports over the last couple of years than any other manufacturer. And we know they're the most diligent testing facility in the United States.
Right.
So our crown and bridge is there, impression materials there, cements, our cleaners, We even have a toothpaste. So we have a very extensive, over 500 products now in about
Wow.
30 different categories.
Wow.
And that's what we do. We save dentists a ton of money on supplies again without compromising quality.
Yeah. Speaking of quality, right? One of the reasons why I wanted to really work with your company is you guys have a really good reputation in some of the other Facebook groups. These groups are dentist only groups. And I find that anytime there's a dentist that's happy with a product, as an office manager, I want to be able to bring that product, whatever it may be, to the dentist, right? Because I want to be that one to say, hey, look, we found you this amazing product and it's actually going to save you a lot of money. For me, that's a win-win, right? And that's how other office managers are probably thinking out there right now. So that was really one of the reasons why I wanted to work with you guys, but also your story is amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think it really says a lot when you get an understanding of something that's a family business. It's been generation to generation. And of course, the main thing, like you said, is that the quality is not compromised. You mentioned a couple things like prices going up, right? Look, I've experienced that many times over the last 20 something years being in dental. You start working with one company and you get maybe one price to start working with them, but then all of a sudden that price goes up and maybe you don't look at the invoice right away, but you notice it later. With that being said, I feel one of those pain points. So again, it really comes down to working with a reputable company who has a good reputation already. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring you guys into our community here to start working with our office managers that are in this group. I also want to mention that there is a special offer, special discount, and we're going to get into that towards the end of this episode. So, guys, stick around. We'll talk about that a little bit at the end here. But jumping into a little bit more about Mark 3, Bryan, can you share with us let's think of it this way. Okay. Who is the ideal dental practice that benefits most from switching to Mark 3? Is there an ideal practice, or is it just general dentistry or cosmetic dentistry? Who benefits the most?
I think it's across the board. Everything from a small office that has one operatory to a dentist that owns multiple offices, 5, 10, 15 offices, all the way up until the group practices. I mean, Benko Dental is one of our biggest customers, and they're doing a tremendous job with the
Wow.
DSOs and getting our products. It's been growing tremendously over the last 3 years because the DSOs and the group practices, it's more business oriented and you're really looking at the bottom line and the profit. So they're
Mm,
constantly switching over to a lot of our products, and that's been growing tremendously. All the way down to, like I said, a single practice. Anyone can benefit, and you're basically shaving off 50% of your supply costs, right? And that's just going
yeah.
right to your bottom line and your profit. And I think that's the hard part, like what you just mentioned before, is that, okay, I want to save money on supplies, but where am I even going to start? Like, you even have the time to look into, okay, which crown and bridge am I going to use? Which cement should I use?
Right.
Which, like,
Right.
I mean, we have all the cleaners, we have all the impression materials, mixing tips. There's so many different things. And do you really have the time to go? And so what happens is a lot of dentists will use a couple of our products, and we're very generous with samples also. So anyone ever needs a product they want to try, because I could talk about how good the product is. Obviously, I'm going to say it's good, right? But the proof is in the pudding. So we're
Right.
very big believers in getting the product in the dentist's hand for them to use it themselves and them to say, yes, this is just as good or better. So we usually don't even send samples. We'll send you like a full box if you want to try the product, which is pretty rare. And the reps from the companies really appreciate that. But what happens is they start on a few different products and then they're like, okay, wow, this is really good. This is good. And then we hear a lot of times they say, okay, now Mark 3 is my go-to line, just because, again, like we said before, it's just easier to pick up a product line that where we have the breadth of the products. You could save money across the board. You don't have to try a million different things. And now there's like a lot of house brand products coming out, a lot of online companies, and it's difficult to really test out in all the different categories across the board, like which products are going to be a premium quality
Right.
product. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I kind of want to get into the products. Maybe we should dive into a couple here. The first thing I want to mention is 50 to 70% savings. To someone who might be listening, might be like, that's way too good to be true. Right. Uh,
I
and so
agree.
And so I gotta ask you, Bryan, how is Mark 3 maintaining like clinical quality at that price point?
Really, it's from the relationship we have with the manufacturers. And we're around 48 years now. So we got a big birthday coming up in 2 years, big party,
Okay,
50th.
fair
And
enough.
it's the quality, it's the relationships we've built over the last 48 years with the high level manufacturers. So most of the materials are made here in the US. So we're not going to go to China to make impression material. We do make some products in Germany, but US, Germany are the two best places to make dental supply products in the world. Obviously, disposables will come from China, which they all do. Gloves come from Malaysia, but we've partnered with the best manufacturers out there. And then being a smaller family business, we could afford to sell it at a lower price point as opposed to big public companies or companies that have 100 employees, 200 employees. It's totally different. You can't sell it at the price point that we're at. So
Right.
we have an
Right.
advantage there.
Yep.
And that's basically
Okay.
how we do it.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I listen. That's why I appreciate the transparency. You know, it's funny is you just said where the gloves are made, right? In Malaysia, disposables are in China. Like honestly, man, I can tell you that in the last again 20 whatever years I've been in dental at this point, it's never been that clearly explained. Sometimes you have to look at a box and figure it out. I think that matters, right? Because it ties back to quality. This ties back to your family brand and how you're providing transparency on where these materials are made, which I love it. What would be the most common pushback that you get from practices considering switching? That is a big thing. How do you address that? Or what is the best way to address that?
I would say when it comes to more of the technical products where people are used to the way it handles and they're just very comfortable with the product. So on those type of things, we don't always push if they're very comfortable with something and they don't, you have to have motivation, obviously, to change. And at that point, it's like you can show them the reports. Like again, we have the CR reports, we have the ratings. But at the end of the day, it's really putting the product into the dentist's hand for them to try. They have to feel comfortable with the product, even if it is just as good or better. Maybe it has a slightly different handling, slightly different setting time. So we want them to be comfortable. And whether we send you a free sample or if you buy the product, it's 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked, all the time on anything, because we get very few returns. So it's easy for us to offer that.
Gotcha. That's
As I'm
great. Yeah.
talking, you're right. It does sound too good to be true.
Yeah, man. Look, that's listen,
But I know it's working and we're growing tremendously. So
yeah. Yeah.
it works. It's just a matter of just getting the brand out there a little bit more. But we're starting to become a national brand now over the
Yeah.
last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I had to ask you that question because a lot of our viewers are probably going to be thinking that. And over the years, again, it's you hear things from reps that walk through your door. Hey, we got this special deal on this and that. Next thing you know, you're ordering, and then a couple months later, next thing the price has gone up, and you haven't really realized it until you do. And sometimes you kind of already have built a relationship or spent time moving your orders over to this company. I've been there. For me, it's good for us to kind of talk
Well,
about that openly.
that's interesting you're bringing that up because I've now that you've said that, I've heard that a couple times lately. That's one of the tactics that some of these companies use, but I
Yeah,
mean, you won't find that with our brand, and the dealers we go through are pretty reputable. So that if you have an issue with that with Mark 3, contact us because then somebody's doing something they're not supposed to be. But our
yeah.
prices are already low to begin with, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Right. Cool. All right. You mentioned that anyone here, any of our viewers here that are looking to sample a product would be the best way to actually get it into the doctor's hands to see
Mhm.
whether the doctor actually likes it. So, what does that look like? Do they reach out to you? Do they use the link on our website? How do they get access to samples?
Well, two ways. You could contact your local dealer, whoever you're purchasing from, and ask the reps. And the reps are now trained. They know that we're very generous with the samples, whereas other manufacturers are a little hesitant. So and then once the rep requests it, we'll ship it directly to the dentist. Usually, even add in a couple other things for them to try, along with the reports, so you can see the backing behind it. You can contact us contact us directly at info@cargus.com. And then as we start posting on your site, there'll be more and more places that we'll make sure we get it out there and everybody will clearly see where they can get samples, where they can get deals on the products.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. One other question I have for you, Bryan. What is your number one requested product?
Number one selling product right now is the alginate alternative. People are switching over from just the regular alginate, and we're a lot cheaper than the imprint or the alginate by Kerr. So you're gonna, again, you're saving $50, $60 a box. It's just an easy product to switch. Doctors aren't as particular on it, and that happens to be like our number one selling product. Another one is a very fast growing product for us is the RX toothpaste. We just launched that about a year ago and we're selling 4 or 5,000 tubes a month just because
Wow.
we're seeing in the marketplace, there's only a couple of manufacturers that have the product, and there's not a lot of alternatives. So there, we've seen a couple opportunities lately that we've identified, and this was one of those products where it's really just the Clinpro 5000 and the Prevident 5000. That's
Mm,
most of the market. But so we made a product that's just as good or better. It's CR rated also. 95% of the people that tested it rated it excellent or good and worthy of trial by colleagues and would also incorporate it into their practice. Has fluoride, xylitol, vitamin E, and it's basically a 1.1%, right? Sodium fluoride. It's got a lower price point than the manufacturer. So you could make a little bit more money on it, but also when you sell it to the patients, the patients also save money as well. So it's really a win-win. So that's really been an important product for us. And then our cements, our impression material, the VPS, the bite, the mixing tips, all the guns. That's a very big category for us. And the cleaners also, we do very well with the ultrasonic cleaners. So the bioenzymatic cleaner, we have all the gallons, but we also have the tablets if you want to use tablets instead of gallons.
yep.
So those are some of the products that are really selling very well for us.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, what I want to touch on here, real quick, I just want to do a little bit of a recap. Actually, what I want to really discuss, what I would love to discuss real quick, Bryan, you mentioned CR rated, right? Now, I understand the importance of CR rated. However, some of our viewers may not. Is it possible that you can maybe just give us a little bit of a better understanding of what classifies your products or your company to be CR rated? How does that actually work?
Mhm. Sure. So CR is was started by Gordon Christensen and his wife. They've been in the industry, I don't know how long, 50, 60 years
Hmm,
maybe at
long
this.
time. Yeah.
A long
Yeah.
time. They're out in Utah. I've visited the facility a couple of times. Beautiful place to go, by the way. We did we did skiing and we went whitewater rafting and mountain biking all in the same weekend.
Wow.
Like it's insane right there. Yeah,
Amazing.
beautiful place. Um, but they have yeah, again, very extensive testing that they do on the products. And the way is we submit our products to them and they have a board of clinicians that test the products, maybe about 25, 30, and they do a write-up and a report. And if it meets their standards, then they'll put it into one of their public monthly publications and those publications go out to about 100,000 dentists. So a lot of people see it. That was one of the things that really helped build our brand over the last 5 years because like I said before, we had so many products that were highly rated. And it was important to them at the time too, because they were frustrated by the cost. The prices of the products continued to rise, and they were like, there has to be like alternatives out there. It's like we found each other at the perfect
Hmm.
time. And then once he tested it and he knew it was just as good or better, then and it got the high ratings, then he really backed the Mark 3 line.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks for going over that. So, guys, we are going to wrap up this episode, but before we do, I want you to know that Bryan has set up a special offer for members of our community. You can find the special offer on our website at dentalofficemanagers.com/offers. And I'm going to drop that link here in this video below. there's also a code that you can use for 20% off, and that code is DOMA20. You'll see it there also on the website. So if you guys are looking for top quality products, and of course, your dentist loves to save money, I would recommend that you look into Mark3 and get yourself some samples. As Bryan said, you can reach out to your local distributor, and you can also reach out to him directly. Again, that link is going to be here at the bottom of this video. Bryan, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. Again, learning about you and the company, it's been great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time and spending this time with you today.
Yeah. So guys, Bryan is here in our community as well. So you're going to see some posts from time to time, special offers from them directly. Don't be shy. Take advantage of the special offers that we've negotiated to bring members of our community here. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope to see you again on the next episode of the Dental Office Managers Community Podcast. Take care.
Thank you.